Hello everyone and welcome to this review of the Lenovo Legion 5 Pro, a relatively high-spec gaming laptop. So let's get right into the review. So this is a 16-inch laptop, and that's a rather odd size for a conventional laptop because it has a 16 by 10 screen ratio. This laptop has QHD screen of 2560 times 1600. That's where the 16 by 10 ratio comes in. Let's get into the outlook of this laptop first of all. We'll start with the size. So like I said before, this is 16 inch. It's really the same size as 15.6 inch laptop thanks to its incredibly thin bezels you can see in the screen. It manages to be very thin and fits into most of the bags that fits the 15-inch laptop, so that shouldn't be a problem. The lid is made of metal, smooth matte silver finish, with the logo on the back, which is backlit. And here's a very important part of being a laptop, is that the hinge is very nice built. It doesn't wobble the screen a lot when you push it, or like bump onto your table. A lot of other laptops, their screens are not as sturdy as this and they will wobble a lot. Now if you see my hands pushing it, it will not wobble. And another good thing about it is that you can open up the screen without having to push down on the body, which some laptops can't do that. And moving down to the laptop's body, it's made of plastic, which is a good thing, which I'll explain further. On the lower part of the laptop, we get into the ports. On the left side, you have a Type-C and a 3.5 headphone jack. So you will have to use a converter if your headphone has a separate input for the microphone. On the right side, you have one USB slot and a very special camera switch, which switches off the hardware from the camera. It's like a physical wire between them, so you don't have to worry about covering up the webcam. The reason that there's no more ports on the sides is because it's made clear for the exhaust vents which surround the side and the back for more cooling efficiency, compared to normal laptops which has fans mostly on the back only. So moving on to the back, you will see here is where all the remaining ports are at. The power input, the massive air vents, and all of this is made from plastic, and I'm glad it is because this laptop can get pretty hot under heavy load. And if it's made of metal, you're gonna burn your hands. Trust me, you will burn your hands if this laptop was made of metal. Now the ports in the back might be a bit counterintuitive, but if they have to do that for more ventilation, that's fine by me. You just simply have to reach your hand to the back sometimes when you have to use it. The screen itself is pretty well made. It has a matte finish, as do many laptops, and a 165Hz refresh rate really makes gaming a pleasant experience. Though I can't really tell between 144 and 165, but if you're playing really high-strung FPS games, you should be able to tell the difference. And combined with the sturdy hinges for the minimal screen wobble, this laptop really takes the good display quality. Moving on to the keyboard and the touchpad. First off, the touchpad is way too far to the left. When you're using the keyboard, your palms will definitely touch it by accident and you will move the cursor around. And that is going to be quite annoying in the long run. Fortunately, you can disable it when you're connected to a mouse. You don't even have to do that in settings, it will automatically do it. But that's a mark against it because if you're using a keyboard and you don't want to disable the touchpad, you would definitely move the mouse when you're using the keyboard. Now the keyboard itself is very nice, the keys are very nice to type, they have a pretty solid feel to it. It has 4-zone color control, so you don't have individual key color control here. You can control this in the Vantage app as well. Next up, let's talk about the laptop's main party piece, the gaming aspect. This laptop has an RTX 3070 inside, which is right up the performance list, coupled with an upgraded 32GB of RAM and an i7-11800 processor. With these specs, you can rest assured you can play any games that comes out for the next few years, and with relatively ease in high settings as well. If you want to see the gaming performance, I will upload a gaming video shortly after this. to show you what this laptop can do. Now let's move on to the heat management. This laptop, given all the super high performance components, it will get pretty hot. On a previous laptop review, I had an Asus gaming laptop that was built thin and light that was really hot because it had bad cooling. This laptop gets really hot even with all the extra vents and all the cooling systems. When you're on heavy games, you will really feel the heat when the fans go into full speed. Particularly the one on the right where your hand and mouse will be. This will be alright if you're in a cold environment, it acts like a warmer for your hands. But if you're in a hot room, in the hot weather, you're gonna feel the heat on your hands and it will not be as pleasant. But I'm pretty sure a similar spec laptop will fare similar, given how hot these processors and graphics cards can get. Now that the laptop's out of the way, you might have noticed that the power brick that came with this laptop is absolutely gigantic. Here's some common items for comparison. Given that it says 300 watts on the top, it is necessary to be this big to supply the power that the laptop needs for playing games and all the really powerful components. Now if you unplug the power, the battery on this laptop, it is pretty good. It will last me about 6 hours of regular web browsing and work stuff. But given that I work with Adobe apps a lot, it will not last long when I have those apps open. And even if I play any games, like 2D games even, it will drop right down to 2 to 3 hours under load. But generally it serves well if you're bringing the laptop out just to get some light work, or just some web browsing. In the Vantage app, it has a setting that allows you to limit the charge up to 50 to 60% if you're not planning to use it with the power supply connected. If you're planning to use this laptop like a desktop and leave it plugged in all the time, and keep it away from full charging all the time, which will damage the battery quicker than 50% probably. And moving on to the speakers on this laptop, there's really nothing special about it. It just has 2 speakers on the front and on the bottom, so it doesn't get in the way of your hands or any way. And there is nothing much to say about it. It sounds alright, it gets pretty loud, and here's some samples of me playing games with it. There is also one thing that I forgot to mention. The fan gets really loud, and what you're hearing here is part of the gaming experience with the fan turned on at full speed. So that is a pretty important part of this laptop, is that the fan gets really loud if you don't wear headphones. So otherwise you're gonna have to turn the speakers way up or just use external speakers and put a laptop cooler under it. Even though I don't think that's gonna help a lot. Now this laptop came with a 1TB SSD. In this day and age, 1TB is just enough for apps and games and some movies. But this laptop does come with an extra hard disk slot, so you can always add extra storage if it runs out of space. And the SSD that came with this is pretty fast, so you shouldn't really worry about anything being slow at all. This is one of the cheaper, more affordable RTX laptops out there. And by my standards, it seems alright. It's built well, the screen hinge is pretty well built with minimal wobble. Although there are some minor inconveniences, it's really not bad. So there you have it. I will recommend this laptop if you're looking for a high-spec laptop. I don't have any complaints for this laptop for now. Maybe I'll make a follow-up review after some time have passed to see if any problems have come up or if the laptop's doing fine. Since this is gonna be my work laptop, I will be doing a lot of work on it too that is gonna use a lot of processing power. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like my videos.